At this time, then I will call Potter County cause numbers 98181E in the interest of Kason Kirby Williams. Also cause number 100704D in the interest of Colton Williams. Okay, we are here in each case for our adversary hearings in this matter. Just for the record, it appears Ms. Williams was personally served on February 23rd of 2026. I'm not showing the status of service on Mr. Parton or Mr. Candelaria. I know that the department has had some contact with them. I'll find out a little bit more about that here in just a minute. But neither one of those gentlemen are present. So we are conducting this case through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming on YouTube, and Ms. Galvan's making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements, and then I want to talk about service on Mr. Parton and Mr. Candelaria.
Melinda Powell for the department. We are present, ready to proceed.
Vince Nowak on behalf of Keisha Williams, and we are both present and ready, Judge.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the boys.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Powell, I'm pulling up in Odyssey. Let's see what I see.
I don't show service on either one of them, Judge.
Okay. The affidavit at least reflected that we had had some contact with each father, and I believe they had declined to be placement for in Colton's case. Mr. Candelaria is an alleged father. I show that he was contacted, but he could not pass, or excuse me, no, that I showed that they were both kind of absent and could not take the children. So I might need a little clarification by absent. Does that mean we had no contact with them, or does that mean they declined to assist?
And that would probably be a Mr. Off question. And I'm pulling the petition. We did not have an address for Mr. Parton. We have that Mr. Candelaria lives in Louisville, Texas. And so I'm trying to look and see if we issued citation and we just haven't got back.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do, and I know this is taken out of order, but just on this narrow subject, I'd like to swear Mr. Off in and just find out, just very basically if he's had contact and what that was. So, Mr. Off, if you would please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give on this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, sir. Okay. Mr. Oth, if you would just tell me, did you have any contact with Mr. Parton?
No, ma'am.
Were you able to locate him?
We attempted to locate him and have a mailing address to send him the appropriate paperwork from our department. But to my knowledge, we did not have contact with him.
All right. Have you had any further involvement in trying to find him?
I have not.
Was the mother able to give you any information about his whereabouts?
She was not.
Okay, but you asked about that.
Yes, I did.
Do you have any information about any of his family?
No, ma'am.
Have you checked like Facebook and that kind of stuff?
I have not. I believe that the department ran an internal report to gather information about his recent addresses, phone numbers, and we're not able to contact him.
Like an accurate search type thing?
That's it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Judge, before you move on in regards to Mr. Candelaria, just to let the court know, Mr. Oth has taken another job, and so he was very involved in this removal, so he is here. But we may also want to follow up with Miss Allen in regards to the same questions.
Okay. All right. Okay, then Mr. Oth, same questions really with respect to Mr. Candelaria, if you can just tell me.
Sure. Same process for Mr. Candelaria. We were not able to contact him. We ran an accurate report to gather most recent addresses and phone numbers. And to my knowledge, have not heard or had any contact with him.
Okay. All right, sir. I appreciate it. So, let me just find out real quickly then. I'm sorry, did you say Ms. Allen?
Miss Allen, Judge.
Ms. Allen, if you'll raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give on this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, same thing, Ms. Allen, just specific only as to this issue about location of fathers. Have you had any further contact or located either father?
No, Your Honor, I continue to search for phone numbers and addresses, and we have not had any contact with either father.
Judge, I did just get a message from Kim that they were provided, I guess, the address for Mr. Parton that they had in their system. And while they have not had contact with Mr. Parton, our office has issued citation to him. And then in regards to Mr. Candelaria, they did issue citation to that out of town address, and that hasn't been returned.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, then. All right, then, we're gonna go ahead and switch gears. So you both are under oath at this point, but we're gonna, I think, proceed in a little different order, at least what sounded like in our, excuse me, in our bench conference. So, Ms. Powell, who's your first, or who's your next witness really gonna be?
Officer Joshua Newland.
Okay. Officer Newland, if you will please unmute and raise your right hand for me, sir. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, do you prefer to be addressed as just Officer Newland or your rank, or what's your preference?
Officer Newland is fine. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Officer Newland it is. All right, Ms. Powell, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Officer Newland, would you please state your name?
Joshua David Newland.
And Officer Newland, how are you currently employed?
I am employed at the AISD Police Department.
Okay, and I just want to confirm you're okay with being called Officer Newland?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Now, if you have a rank that you'd prefer for me to use, I can certainly do that too.
Officer works great. Thank you.
Okay. So, Officer Newland, what are your regular duties with the Amarillo ISD Police Department?
I'm assigned to the North PD cluster. I've got 3 elementary schools: Eastridge Elementary, Mesa Verde, and Forest Hills. I do patrol functions, security checks, and interact with the kids. Also do home visits. Obviously work with CPS on some of those things, offer security to staff members for home visits and those kind of things.
Okay. And you said that you are assigned to Eastridge Elementary?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you assigned to Eastridge Elementary on February? Let me look at my dates here. On February 17th of 2026.
Yes, I was.
And is that a regular assignment that you have?
Yes, ma'am. I make it to the school numerous times during the day.
Okay. And are you familiar with the kids at the school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you make sure I get the right kid. Are you familiar with the child by the name of Colton Williams?
Yes.
Okay, wanted to make sure I had the oldest child there. And have you had in part of your duties, how have you interacted with Colton Williams?
Interacted with him at the school, and I make frequent visits into his special classroom where he's at. See him on a regular basis. I wouldn't say daily, but at least during the week, multiple times.
Okay. And have you come to learn who Colton's mother is?
Yes.
And who is Colton's mother?
I believe it's Kesha Williams or Keisha.
Okay.
Spelling.
And you said that you also do home visits. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
And have you engaged in home visits in regards to this family?
Yes, I believe 9 of them, if I'm correct.
And why do you do that?
It works in a couple capacities. One is for the school staff, just for safety to assist, expedite them going to doors for their needs and attendance issues. In this case, concerns on health, welfare checks would probably be the easiest way to say it. In a whole, is the welfare of the children.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that, during these 9 home visits that you have had interaction with the mother, Kesha Williams?
Yes.
Now, when you were on duty on February 17th, did you have the opportunity to have an interaction with Miss Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you notice anything different about Miss Williams on that date?
Yes. Do you want me to explain?
Absolutely, please.
Okay. So I was actually sitting in the parking lot prior to going into the school, and I recognized her vehicle pull up. She was not driving, but was dropped off at the side door, and she walked actually directly in front of my patrol unit down the long sidewalk that leads up to the front entrance to the school. I immediately noticed that she was not acting in her normal fashion. She's jerking head movements, arm movements, pulling at her shirt, rubbing her hair back, adjusting everything. I immediately knew that that was not her normal state. So quickly entered the school after her to kind of follow up on the condition that I was observing.
Now, when you went to go check on her, did you have a discussion with her?
Yes, ma'am. When I first walked into the school, there's an entryway, and she was behind the door in the clear glass. So I actually stopped to observe further because I was concerned with what I was observing with her walking up to the school. Again, noticed that she was not acting her normal self, which was consistent with my previous encounters with her. The same jerking motions of her head, darting eyes, looking around, fidgeting, pulling. At that point, I saw staff members coming down the hallway, and they got my attention, and was immediately addressed by them that they had recognized that there was a problem also.
Did you attempt to engage in conversation with Miss Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you had previous conversations with Miss Williams?
Yes, many conversations.
Was this conversation different than what you had previously experienced with her?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
How was it different?
So normal conversation is normal in the fact that you can look at her, make eye contact. She's actually normally slow in body movements and vocal tones and her speech patterns. In this instance, everything was rapid, jerky, disconnected, and hard to focus to engage with her. So much so that I actually directed her to the other room and confronted her on what I was observing. And I specifically said, "This is not your normal behavior."
Were the things that she was discussing with you making any sense?
No, I would definitely say we were lacking connection on normal rational thought process. One thing that definitely stood out to me concerning when trying to evaluate what her mental condition was she made statements about having an ex-husband or boyfriend that was in prison that was currently hiring people to, quote, let me find it, attack her with electrical magnetic forces. She further explained this was the reason for skin rashes and irritations on her arms and chest. Also explained it as a reason for her children having diarrhea. And it is the reason why certain outlets in her home were not functioning.
Now, when she made those statements to you, did that raise concerns about her mental health to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. And again, was that quite different than your other conversations that you had had?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you continue trying to engage with Miss Williams at that time?
Yes, ma'am. We actually directed her to a quieter spot where we could try to communicate and sort through whatever this disconnect was in conversation. Tried to talk through it. Nothing she's saying was making any rational sense. We covered possible alcohol use, confronted her on the possibility of narcotic substances, which she denied.
Now, Officer Newland, how long have you been a law enforcement officer?
I believe approximately 18 years.
Okay. Have you had the opportunity to come into contact with intoxicated individuals previously?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Would you say that was often or a few times?
Very often. I worked in a specialized narcotics unit.
Okay. Now, was this interaction different, would you say, than a typical interaction with just a merely intoxicated person?
Absolutely, yes. Yes,
Okay.
it's go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your statement. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, absolutely not normal at all to have statements that remove yourself from reality or project things that are not real or electrical magnetic. These conversations are definitely removed from what alcohol normally provides for indicators.
As you had your conversations with Miss Williams that day, were you aware that Miss Williams also had a younger child?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on your interactions that day, would you have had serious concerns for either children to remain in her care?
Absolutely.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Nowak?
Judge, I have recently served discovery on the department, and I'd like to have that discovery back before I cross-examine Mr. Newland, if that's okay with the court. If need be, I'll bring him back under subpoena at a later hearing, but at this point, I don't have any questions for this witness.
And Vince, I haven't seen that discovery. I'll have to get with Kim to.
It was yesterday. You've got 30 days to answer it, but I'd be more comfortable cross-examining the witness once I had a little bit more access to information, Judge.
I understand. Here's the problem. We've got to have this hearing. We have to hold this adversary hearing within a certain time frame in 30 days.
I got you. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and ask
the scope of that. So, but I hear what you're requesting, but I'm not sure time will permit us to do that.
Let me go ahead and ask a few questions, if I may.
Certainly.
Officer Newland, you had mainly interaction with Colton as opposed to Cation, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And on the date that you're speaking of, did you observe any bruises on Colton?
Yes.
And where were those bruises? And what? Tell me what you saw.
I wouldn't say I'd specifically be able to articulate where they're at in my memory. I didn't do an articulated report. It was passed off to CPS, so there's not a report for me to refer to. I do recall seeing some bruises, and that was not uncommon to see Colton with bruises. It was actually a regular occurrence to have bruises and marks on him. But if I was to describe them, I couldn't describe them in detail accurately for you.
But those bruises have been caused just by boys roughhousing, the way boys do.
Yes.
Tell me about Colton's appearance. His clothes. Was he wearing clean clothes?
I don't recall his clothes on that time. I could refer to previous incidents on what normal condition I see him in. I don't recall what he was wearing on that day.
Okay, so you're not here to tell the court that on that day that we've been discussing that Colton was dressed inappropriately.
Restate the question, please.
Sure. On that day that we're talking about, you can't tell the judge that on that day Colton's clothes were soiled or dirty, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. And you can't tell the judge the nature of the bruises, and as far as you know, they were caused by boys roughhousing, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on that day, your testimony, sir, is that Keisha was acting out of normal.
That is correct.
Okay. So let's talk about when she acts normal. Does she appear to you to be a mom that cares about Colton?
Yes.
Okay. And his well-being?
I don't know that that's a yes or no answer on that's a hard one to categorize into a single yes or no.
Sure. And I've never laid eyes on
define care for your children. That's
sure.
that's a broad spectrum there.
I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting Carlton. Does he appear well fed?
I would say no.
Okay. Why would you say that?
He's always very skinny, ribs protruding. If you go to pick him up, you can usually feel his bones, ribs, sternal notch. Yeah, he's usually well. What I would look at and say he definitely is underweight most of the times when I see him. But that's a relative term. But from my perspective, I would say yeah, he's underweight.
Okay. Okay. Judge, I think for purposes of the adversary, that's all the questions I have. And when we get further along in the case, I would likely call Officer Newland, I apologize, back. But at this point for this witness, that's all I have, Judge.
Okay, all right. Ms. Zavala.
Officer Newland, you've stated that you've done about 9 home visits to Miss Williams' home.
I actually pulled my dispatch report just to show, and I believe it shows that I've been to that address 9 times.
Is that normal to visit a child's home that many times?
Absolutely not.
And over what time period are those 9 visits?
Let me check the dates on here. So it looks like the last one where I was at the home visit would have been February 2nd of this year. And then it looks like November 12th of 25 last year.
Those are the most recent ones?
Those are the most recent ones. Yeah, and I feel like I've been that was there prior to. I'd have to look back at some school records to see if maybe another officer signed out, but this was just the ones that I had initiated a sign out for that address.
What types of reasons would you have visited the home for?
So I have been there for general welfare checks, which are typical when a child doesn't have normal attendance, when they've been missing for a certain amount of time. When the guardian cannot be contacted, we found that it is important that we can contact and know where the kids are at. It's not our main function, but I see it as an additional service that I get to offer to try to make sure that these kids are safe. So welfare, there was a time where I've actually returned him home from school because he was so ill that actually the nurse had to go with me to return him back to his home, his residence. Also had, I don't know where the date is on it, but a 911 call that came through Amarillo PD from a bus driver that had stated that they had seen him at the door, but or through the window, but he wasn't coming out to be picked up. I don't have the details on that. I was told by another officer there that it was relayed that he was screaming at the door or making noise at the glass, and then he was gone, disappeared. On that home visit, I was knocked on the door, attempted to contact Keisha and got no answer. Our concern was that at that point, usually the boys are very rambunctious, run around. If you open the door, they dart out. They're boys and they're climbing around. Also with the autism or his behavior, he moves and climbs and gets on everything. This morning, while he'd already been seen at the door, it was whisper quiet. We didn't hear a sound out of the residence at all. Couldn't see a curtain move, not a single sound, and it's a very small residence. So we spent a significant time knocking on the door because at that point it was a welfare safety concern. Had 2 other officers that were there. Don't remember what their names were at this time. Eventually, after a long period of time of us forcefully banging on the door and knocking on windows, Keisha finally yelled at us and said, "It's too early for this shit." And at that time, we were at least able to say, okay, we saw the child. We heard a voice from an adult. We don't have legal grounds to make access. But that was when I believe ended up speaking. I believe it was Robert or that had come out for the CPS to assist with that. But I have also attended the home, but in the school setting, yes, welfare checks, medical concerns, people who are concerned about the welfare of the kids.
You had described Colton as being very skinny with ribs protruding. Have you ever observed him doing anything different in terms of food?
Explain that for what I mean by different in terms of food.
Well, have you ever seen him eating?
I would say I have not observed him eating. No.
Okay. Have you ever observed him trying to locate food somewhere in the school?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I guess I wouldn't be around for those occasions during meal times or where he's in during those times. So.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have at this time.
All right. Ms. Powell, further questions for Officer Newland?
Not for Officer Newland, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Novak, did you have any further questions for him?
No, Judge.
All right, and Ms. Zavala, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Officer Newland, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Counsel, any objection if he's free to go ahead and go on about his day's business?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, Officer Newland, I understand, I mean, you could be subject to recall at some point in time, but for now, you're free to go. All right, I'm at this time, I'm on the court's own motion. I want to recess this proceeding and appoint Ms. Williams. Additionally, in addition to Mr. Novak, I want to appoint a guardian ad litem to also represent her. I am concerned about some things that I've heard already, and I don't want to get any deeper into this. So, so that the guardian ad litem has the benefit of listening to the testimony and questioning witnesses. So, I do want to stop for the day and appoint a guardian ad litem to Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams, Mr. Novak can explain that to you a little better, but I'm hearing, I'm hearing some testimony that gives me some concerns if you were having a mental health crisis that day and or on other days, but particularly on the day in question. And so a guardian ad litem's role is to, also be there for you and advocate for you. But it's a little bit different role. And so I think that might be helpful to you in this case and in defending your case. Ms. Katie, can you tell me who's next up on that list?
Lorraine Lucero, Judge.
Okay. So Ms. Lucero is an attorney who practices regularly in this court. She's very well versed in these kind of cases, so we will give her your contact information and vice versa. Has your email or any information changed, Ms. Williams? Can you unmute for me? I'm going to send you, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. My lawyer has my email.
Okay.
Yeah.
But probably that my coordinator did when you filled out some paperwork, but we'll make sure, but none of that has changed recently. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we'll get her in touch with her. Counsel, we've got such a busy schedule this next month. We're looking at possibly resuming this on Monday, November 9th. I know that's not one of our normal docket days. That would be probably at 1:30, something like that.
Judge, did you say November, Judge?
No, I did say November, March 9th.
Okay, thank God.
I'm so sorry. I don't know where that came from. Okay. Monday, March 9th at 1. Is that a date? That's normally Judge Graham's one of his busy days, so I want to make sure we're not stomping all over that. Mr. Novak, do you have anything or with him? And we'll need to verify, of course, with Ms. Lucero as well.
I'm showing on the 9th, I've got a status and a bench trial in Judge Graham's court. And I don't have the docket set, so I'm not sure exactly what time of day they are.
Okay.
We normally get the docket about a week in advance, so
Yeah. Let's
should have it soon. I can call Brittany when we're finished here and ask her what the time is going to look like on that date.
I'm just looking to see.
He doesn't have any time set yet. I already looked.
Yeah.
And
The 10th is just not good at all for us. That we've got so much going on, and I'm looking, Miss Katie, on the 11th. Well, it won't be me. That's right. I'm out.
Judge, we have a mediation set on the 11th.
Yeah, and it won't be me. And now that I've started this, I don't want to kick it to a visiting judge, so that's not going to work. The other, I don't know about Friday the 6th, this coming Friday. It's not a lot of time for Ms. Lucero, but just kind of trying to get a heads up in case the 9th doesn't work.
And I have a whole bunch of witnesses. I just want to make sure that they would be available on the.
Yeah.
I see head shaking. I think I'm okay.
On the 9th at 1. Okay. I guess, Mr. Nowak, if you can check and see, or kind of what it looks like, that looks like for you all.
Let me see if I can get her on the phone. I just talked to her an hour ago. Maybe she can let me know.
Everybody good to just hang with us here for just a minute? See if we can't get this sorted out real quickly and go ahead and let everybody know.
Yes, ma'am.
1 o'clock Monday will work.
Okay, Mr. Novak, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
1 o'clock Monday will work. March 9th at 1 o'clock will work.
Okay. And it looked like Ms. Lucero is also involved in that case, so hopefully that will also work for her.
Perfect.
Okay, we'll have to confirm that, but if everyone else will just plan then to reconvene this on Monday, March 9th, 1 o'clock, and you'll get a new Zoom link.
No, we won't. It's the same Zoom link, Judge. Y'all have the Zoom link set up until like June.
Yes, Judge, we changed it at the first of the year.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to get used to rephrasing that. Okay. Same Zoom link. My apologies. Okay. So I really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you so much. And everybody will be free to go. Ms. Williams will get this information to you and to Ms. Lucero, and we'll try to get you all in contact as soon as we can. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Everybody's free to go.
Thank you, Judge. And Keisha, I will be in touch. Thank you, Judge.
Thank y'all.